gotta wake up, it's a brand new day. We were born with wings and not meant for sleeping. I wanna sing loud like the birds sing. We never worry about what everyone is thinking.
Welcome to the Women's Wisdom Show, where we talk about healing, intuition, transformation, and empowerment. My name is Kyla Plaxton. I'm your host, and welcome. Who says you're perfect? De'Nicea does. Appreciating the root meaning of whole and complete, De'Nicea Hilton creates playful healing spaces for women to embrace, embody, and express her perfect, authentic self. So excited to share with you De'Nicea Hilton today. Thank you so much for listening. Yay, we're live. Yeah, so it's been 4 minutes. Sorry if you've already been watching. I've been setting up the tech and getting myself ready. It's last week wasn't as smooth. Actually, we thought we were going to start off, but we had to reschedule it because it was a flop. I was really hoping to just do it the Facebook Live platform and then just bring a guest on, but I was having too many complications, so now I'm doing it through Zoom. And what I would like to do is a preload to the Women's Wisdom Show. This is episode 1, and thank you so much for being here and for watching. And while we wait, we have De'Nicea Hilton, who's going to come on at 2. And she's an extraordinary woman who's really going to talk about the power of playing while you're perfect. She has a traditional Chinese medicine background, which, of course, if you know me, that's something I'm super fond of. As an acupressurist, I'm not technically a doctor of TCM, but I am highly trained in the 5 elements and the modalities of the meridians and all that sort of stuff. So it's very near and dear to my heart. And it's one of the reasons why I got free from my period pain. If you are on, and I have these, I'll just set up my phone here. I'm not quite sure. I need to be able to see people commenting. If you would like. Oh, here we go. I need to put me on mute. Okay, good. Okay, so if you would like a card reading, I have these 5 element cards. They were created by one of my acupressure teachers, Noel Taylor's one of my teachers. Tolling Jennings was my other one. He's from a little Gulf island off the west coast here called Laskiti, where it's basically off the grid. They don't have electricity going over there or hydro going over there. So everything's self-made. They have solar panel and all kinds of stuff where they create their own things. But anyways, this is one of the things he created was this 5 element deck. And I absolutely love it because for 1, it's really beautiful. For 2, it's unique. It's not as well known. But for 3, especially, they're based in the 5 elements and the meridians. So I can use this before a session or just, spiritually to help people to understand what's going on in which element and which meridian that's impacting. So I thought I would just jump on here and, get to know just to share this as something that you can use in your life and add some value, and something I love to do, right? So I'm just going to share this to my personal page so everyone knows that we're on. And if at this point you're watching and you would like a reading, you can just hit me, and just if you have a question, you can ask here. Just if you don't say a question, I'll just pull one that is meant for you, and I'll just read it. I'll read a little bit about what the meridian is about and the element about and how you can apply that to your life. And I'm going to be starting to do this before each and every Women's Live show right here on the Facebook page. So every single Wednesday, I'm going to bring on an amazing woman who will share her wisdom and help you with your wisdom. And I just love having these conversations. you may or may not know, I used to run a podcast called the Feel Better Today Show. It was a bit of an experiment to see what would happen, and it turned out to be highly successful. It had over 100,000 followers, but it wasn't quite tailored to what I wanted to do. But what I did love about it is I loved talking to people. I loved asking the questions. You know, I just love getting into that depth and that dirt. And above all, like, I just love the truth. I love honesty. I love the truth. Even if it makes somebody uncomfortable, I think that is really, really important. Yeah, so let's see. We already have women lined up. I just put the schedule out. As you know, this is a brand new show. This show will go on, the recording will go onto YouTube, onto the YouTube channel, and it'll also go onto the podcast, just the audio version of it. So the replay, and you can watch it from there. But if you would like to partake, you're welcome to ask any questions that you may have. We'll be answering questions near the end. And yeah, I'm just waiting for De'Nicea to come on. So far I haven't had anybody asking for a card reading, which is totally cool. It's it's hard to, it's my first day, right? So it'll just grow as it grows, as it's meant to grow. But if you see this now, then you know next week, if you come on a bit earlier, you can get a free card reading. Yeah. Well, De'Nicea will be on any minute now. Oh. I just had to have her in. Sorry. Here she comes. Hi. How are you? Oh, I think I have you on mute, or you're muted.
It should be off now. Right?
Okay, yeah. Now you're good. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yay.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm great. Yeah. How about you?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited that you're the first woman here. And honestly, I just love to have like an honest conversation. And actually, because you seem to be more of a Zoom expert than me, do you know how we can make it so the video side by side? Or we'll just flip back and forth?
So try gallery view, like click gallery view and see if that changes it.
Just in the Zoom? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, gosh, you're smart.
Did it change it on Facebook? Did it show yet?
It hasn't shown yet. So there is a 20-second lag. So we can just kind of, and I just want to let our viewers know that there's a 20-second lag also. Yeah, it did do it. It just shows up. Yay. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'll say that again, if anybody has questions or that, we can kind of go over those at the end. And there may or may not be questions right now because this is a brand new show. People don't quite know about it yet, which is, you know, totally okay. But this show will be, you know, recorded and put onto the Women's Wisdom podcast as well as onto YouTube. So it'll be evergreen and continue to share your wisdom and share your knowledge. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Me too. What? I'm trying to see, like right now, I'm looking on Facebook to see how I can share it with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to take a sec, you can share it. So far, I think we have one person watching, which I had one person say they were going to watch, which I believe is Lorene. Lorene, if it is you, feel free to say hello. I do have a little kitten too here at home. So if I need to get her for cuddles or something, I'll have to get her.
That's fine.
Yeah, she's cute. Who doesn't love a kitten? Actually, one of my best friends does not love kittens, but.
So I don't really, you know, it's kind of funny because it's like, I don't want to say I don't like them, but I kind of don't like them because I feel like if I don't like them, then there must be something there that I probably would be inspire to learn from them as far as cats go. But kittens, like, totally can do kittens. It's the cats, like the actual adults, that I'm like,
Right. Well, you know, this totally falls into what you're about, right? You're about play. Like,
yes.
older cats don't play as much, and kittens are so playful. So I haven't done like an official introduction or anything, but I would love it if you could maybe share a bit more about what you're up to and your focus and your mission with us, if you don't mind.
I sure will. Okay, yay, I just shared. I was just trying to make sure that he did that. But yeah, so I am De'Nicea Hilton. Hello, everyone. And I guess you would say that I'm a holistic play activator and doctor of Oriental medicine. I actually have come to a place where I've blended in from that background and that foundation of Eastern medicine, bringing this into what it looks like now, which is really helping and guiding women to be able to embrace and embody and actually express their perfect, authentic selves. And they do that in these playful healing spaces. So it's really just like about having fun, and how is it that you can really change that perspective of your experience in life with just every little thing, and how it is that it's opportunities for you to really grow and evolve, and to the point that you're like, yes, this is my authentic self, my inner being, my higher self, and it's coming out, and I'm so confident in being able to do so. So that's like this playground. I call it my perfect alignment playground. I can go with you anywhere as long as you accept. But, yeah, so that's what I'm about. That's who I am a little bit.
So the perfect alignment playground, that's what you called it?
Mm-hmm.
And you said it can go with you anywhere?
Yes.
And in what way is this like an online playground, or?
Yeah. So you will learn that there's like many dimensions to what it is that I'd be talking about, right?
Yeah,
so
I bet
that's perfect, because that's who we are too, right? So it's understanding that. And actually, something's telling me to say this now. For those people that may make those comments and preface in saying, well, I'm a complicated person, and you say it as a way that actually is more of a negative self-talk or putting yourself down, actually reframe that and understand that actually we all are very complicated, and we're complex beings. We are multidimensional beings as well. So you're quite accurate in that, but actually have a different emotion in behind it, and a different intention behind it. And so with this perfect alignment playground, we can break this down. Perfect to me, everyone's perfect. So you are perfect. I am perfect. Everyone is perfect. I cringe a little bit when I hear that. Well, I'm not perfect. Actually, you are. And we were all made in perfect, right? And in the divine, you are perfect. And the root meaning actually of perfect is whole and complete. So I see that you are whole and complete, and it's about embracing that wholeness about you. And so it's this wholeness that comes in that is everything, including the things that you're like, that's not a part of me. It is a part of you. And so stop fighting it. You're expending a lot of energy into that, and just embrace it, and then learn to use it harmoniously, and learn to use it with your strengths, right? So it's even shifting that about yourself, that viewpoint about yourself. If you continue to say that you're imperfect, you're continuously saying that there's all these holes and gaps and whatnot, and then you're going and doing all the things to try to fill those gaps. And I'm here to tell you that you already are whole, you already are complete. Now you can refine that, and that's what this life's and spiritual journey is about. Okay. The alignment is literally the alignment, like the alignment of your spirit, mind, and body, and moving that in together. Tying in Eastern medicine, yes, we have the elements and the organ systems and all of that. Even within that system, you always have those elements. It's just that which ones might be predominating, which ones are overcompensating for another that might need some more support. But at the end of the day, it's all of them are there and then represented.
Yeah.
The playground part is, we break that up. Play being experiential learning and activities type of play, lightheartedness, and just having fun. But then also play in the potential in learning about yourself. It is an acronym.
Yeah.
And then ground, because we are grounded here into this plane that's Earth. So yes, in that spiritual development and evolvement, we're bringing it all together, where it's bringing it from up here in that concept and bringing it into the ground. So the perfect alignment playground is, yes, the space that I have created as far as my business is concerned and in experiences. However, this playground is also here just in our playversation right now because you're involved in it. We are having this dialogue, right? And then now you personally have learned about this playground and you realize, like, gee, I'm whole and complete myself. So wherever you go, it's going to be there. So as long as you even see that I'm living in life's playground, I'm living in my inner spirit's playground, you realize that the playground is also all around you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And it hits me on so many levels. And since last year, a lot of the people who are my friends and followers know that I had cancer removed from my nose and I had 3 surgeries. And they literally like took out my forehead, redid my nose. And
wow.
It was like, on one hand, it was such a blessing, you know, to it not be terminal and that they could do that medicine. But on the other hand, it was a real disfigurement that was right on my face. And even since then, I've had acne come out and stuff like that. And I remember I went to the doctor and was like, why are these like bumps on my face? And she's like, honey, that's acne. And my other girlfriend was like, this is the first time you've had acne? Like, bless you. I was like, right. And I was like, oh, like, I feel embarrassed, you know, but what it is like what you're talking about is just like opening and loving myself, knowing that I'm whole and perfect, no matter what is going on here, and really receiving that, you know, when someone would still say you look great or you're beautiful, what really seems surface, that compliment touches my heart. And can I let that in? And when you're talking about your spirit heart, what I know because we have a similar background, though you're the doctor in it and you know much deeper than I do. But as Shen is in the heart, and that is our spirit expression, and that is the core of everything else, right? Like it all works together, and you can't really say one is the other because everything's a cycle. But when we are following our heart, and our heart spirit, which is naturality, right? Is curiosity, is play, is being open, is like all these joy, right? Is all these things, is when you'll start to transform your life. And I really hear that's where you're putting your focus in to bring that to the forefront and like have people play with you in there and play with each other.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes. I appreciate you sharing that about your experience through your journey in that part.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And even just being on video with you here, and it was time for me to step up and just show myself for people from my life, you know, to be that role model and not get in my own way about my own whatever limiting beliefs. And for you. And so anyways, I wanted to ask you another question, which is, what had you come to this? Like, I'm curious what you were struggling with before that makes this such a priority in your life, and a little bit of that transformation for yourself.
Yeah. So one of the things that while in school and grad school, one of my teachers, actually a few of our teachers, as we were preparing to go into clinic, they actually said to us to be very mindful of who comes in to see you and what it is that they're coming in with or about or for, right? And they encouraged us to, because it's understanding that as you're working in that relationships it's energetic, right? So it's energetic. And then there's this opportunity to really see what are some patterns, what are some trends. So what are some patterns and trends related to the environment, right? Like under what animal or year or whatever it might be on the lookout, because the elements are there, the organ systems are to the elements for these types of patterns. And then also there's the understanding that they might be coming to you as a reflection, and what you're seeing in them is within you.
Mm.
And so if you take that and then like move along, right? So as I'm working primarily in menstrual health and fertility health, the trend that I started seeing in these other women, and not even the ones that were just coming in to speak, like to see me, but I mean, even speaking on podcasts or even speaking at events, what I kept hearing were similar trends. And so, and I'm like, man, what I'm seeing, how am I seeing this so easily? Like, I understand I'm trained and skilled in this part, but there is a certain level of seeing it so easily. And it was like certain things such as like, okay, so how much is it that my life might have been disempowered in that I'm operating from a place of I'm doing X because I don't want someone to do or feel or be Y. So that was based on my actions being changed for someone else, right? Then there was also like, then it was like, okay, so where is it that I'm also taking myself so seriously that I quite possibly am not enjoying like what's happening right now in life? And then also, where is it that I'm actually helping to guide them to use what is coming out as a physical expression in the body, or what's coming out as a mental expression in thoughts, what's coming out as an emotional expression in the way that you're feeling, right? How is it that I'm helping to guide them into using those to actually see where it is that it's offering an information from the spirit?
Yes.
And so I started seeing that and I'm like, man. So then ultimately things shifted and it was just like, you know what? Like overall, I feel like it came from the menstrual health part is like this now, because the greater big is actually, it was a lot of self-esteem, a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-empowerment, a lot of reframing relationships with the body, and then really learning from that and then allowing that to come out, where it became to a point that it was like, the menstrual cycle is actually just is giving you information. So now let's use that as a piece of this greater, right?
Yes.
And so it all morphed and transformed into that. So it was like I was already doing it and didn't realize it. And then even for myself, started doing things like intentionally being more mindful, consciously being aware of where it is that I'm making disempowering decisions and choices, and meditating more, or like just really coming into places like, okay, so I'm going to be living this and embodying this. And I was doing it and it just escalated, it magnified it, like really amplified. And so now like, this is it. It's like, it's gotta be a playground. It's gotta be, and it's a journey. Like, to understand that your healing is a journey. I always say healing. I don't really like say the finite health as much, because it is a journey. It's not a destination. And so now it's to a point where, like what I was doing was also teaching so you can use that and apply it without me being there. Because to me, that's how it is that I'm of service, is in that guiding where it really is empowering. I can't empower you. You have to empower yourself. So it's like, that's the space that I create. Like, and so she could apply that and use it. Exact same thing here. What are these concepts that I can teach you that you can apply it, so that when circumstances might come up or events might come up, you can just pull on that and then be able to use it. But what you're pulling on is something that's from within, and you always have access to it. And so here it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's cool. I didn't know this about you. Like, we've been like networking for like just on each other's platforms, but And you reached out. I was like, oh, of course you're perfect, you know, for the first episode. Yeah, that's exactly like what I'm doing is like teaching women how to listen to their symptoms during their menstruation so they can pull out the wisdom from that time in their life. Like my one client, she applied it to her lower back pain and then she saw that it was telling her to rest more, which seems kind of like, she's like, what? Like, I don't have time for that. But when we're talking about what's in the way, right? So that's the journey is like, what's that limiting belief that's saying you can't rest or that you had to like push harder and that sort of thing. And then it's like, okay, now that you know how to talk to your symptom, how can you bring it to when you're actually, you know, PMSing, which I don't really agree with, or your period. Yeah, right? But like when all that stuff comes to the surface, is like, that's gold. I'm like, that's gold to be paying attention. And I really hear that you've taken it to this whole other level where you really have expanded it into every other area of a potential woman's life and shifted this paradigm of like, there's something wrong with you, you need to heal any of that, and just making it such a joyful place to be excited to explore and to learn and to grow. And I absolutely love that. Oh my goodness, love it. That's amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm curious. So, like what kind of people, or I guess women, like, do you serve? Like, if somebody's listening and wondering if this was a fit for her, I'm guessing, is it male and female, or like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so predominantly it is women, and who she is exactly who you just described, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's the ones that say, oh, I got to fix this. Or you might hear yourself saying, I got to get my life together, or I'm going to get it together. Mm-hmm. Or like, I'm imperfect. And it was just so funny because then they'll make the statement, I'm imperfect, so accept me as I am. And I'm like, that is so paradoxical right there. And I know I speak in paradoxes all the time, but it's like, yeah, hon, you're actually perfect. And so let's like encompass all of it. It's so that they will accept you as you are, but you'd have to come to who you are first. Mm-hmm. Right. So, it's that it's the woman who might be even like a little bit nervous even about her potential. So she has those little feelings of things where it's like, I kind of want to do this and go over here, but they won't. And oftentimes it's like, well, is it even possible? Or who will be there to support me? A lot of things might come up. Yeah. And a lot of fears of, of abandonment, fears of rejection, a lot of anxiety tends to be her too. Anxiety and depression. The ones that call themselves the perfectionists or recovering perfectionists, right, are awesome because like there are so many gifts in actually being a perfectionist. And so imagine the growth and the potential when you actually realize that there's so much power in being that, right, and to having those qualities is just amazing. So it's actually about like learning your archetype. And like, that's something that I'm working on right now is like this quiz and assessment for you to understand actually more about your archetypes that are there. All of them are there, but what's your predominating one? And then how you can really be and come into that and then live from that. Because then you're calling on your strengths and you're calling on what's already available and naturally available. Yeah. So definitely those type of women that just need a little bit more guidance into really seeing herself from a different perspective. That's what I'm really awesome about. Is I can just see connections and things like like crazy, like what? How does she? But it just comes and it's there. And to be able to offer that in a way that you can, like I said, learn this and then be able to use it. Because these life experiences, and I think that these spiritual growth experiences are going to keep happening. They just come in different packages. So that's how I came to really involve, as you said, the whole life. Because the physical is there and it might be the loudest, but it'll show up in other ways as we walk about in our lives.
For sure. Yeah, that's so cool. Can you give an example of somebody you've worked with of maybe what she was struggling with before and what happened after, like what you saw, just to give a real like tangible journey?
Yeah. So this is okay. So I'm thinking about somebody that where was very had experienced some things where it was like I don't really necessarily know exactly like what to do, but I was told by these people that I there's no way that I can actually like get pregnant naturally or whatever. There's no way that my cycle would actually come to its own. Um, and we've been trying for so many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that was just coming in, and it's like it's like somebody ended up really stripping away and then kind of saying like you don't even have this within you. Like that's you know, that's what I was hearing. And I mean, once again, it's menstrual space, fertility space. That's oftentimes it's those types of conversations can be very disempowering when you are navigating that and trying to find solutions to help, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like it further tells her like you can't do this on your own. You don't have this strength to whatever, right? And so through that process, it was like blending in what are some food therapies that would actually help support your type. What are some herbs that would actually help and support you? What's the like what's some journaling, what's some meditation? And those things fluctuated because at each step and each point of the way it's honoring that this is a journey. And so there's different phases, and those phases would come about in those different ways, like the new you, like there's new versions that keep coming out as things start, you know, falling away. And so with that, that's just how present you would be with yourself, because it's understanding like, wow, like, yeah, I'm totally listening where this is no longer serving me and this is what's taking its place. And then so kind of seeing her make these lifestyle changes, and then also these changes in the way that she was thinking and the way that she was talking about herself. You know, she still she still worked with Western medicine, physician and whatnot, but I'll tell you that she really stood her ground and was confident in the decisions that she was making. Where if something was presented, she had enough esteem and confidence within herself about making the decision. It was like so clear that even in conversations with me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to present it to you, but ultimately it is you, right? Like it's your journey. You got to carry this kid. You got to be the one, you know. So that's what happened for her, and it was just beautiful to watch her be able to stand her ground. And this is the decision that I've come to. This is what feels most right to my inner spirit, and just having those conversations with herself, and feeling like, yeah, I got this. And you hear it. She eventually did get pregnant, did eventually have this baby, and
Beautiful.
is just like happy as a clam, right? And then you start to see what it is that we even what she learned from me, she was able to carry on now in this new phase in motherhood. Because like
Wow.
I said, the packaging, the lessons are still there. They just come in different packages. So to be able to apply that in other aspects of her life is totally there.
Of course. That's so inspiring. I love it. Thank you so much, you know, just for sharing so far what you've shared. You do have a plethora of insight and information. So I'm just going to move along.
Yes.
So what would you, yeah, I guess if somebody's listening right now, what would be the one biggest piece that you would want them to know? Like just one word or one sentence, like just one, if you can only say one thing and it was like the only thing they could hear, what would that be?
So I'm gonna take advantage of this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, allow yourself to play.
Yeah.
And I say I'm cheating because play, like I said, has a double meaning. So play in that you have these experiences and activities that bring enjoyment, but then the play and really seeing the potential in learning about yourself
I love
as you
that.
allow yourself to play. So,
Play, the potential of learning about yourself. That's amazing. So good. Love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. So how can, like, are you taking on, do you work one-on-one with clients, or how do you work with people?
So right now, the experiences that I have are in membership. So membership into the Recreation Center, where I do live workshops and live guided meditations and visualizations, and then also live play dates. So play date group consultations is available for those members, and then also doing day retreats called unslumber parties. So I tend to do those. It seems like once a month to once every other month now. And so there's actually one coming up, and then I'm going to do one in July. And then also I'm actually opening up for a mentorship, a group mentorship. So those are the ways currently that I am actually working with women. And if you're like, yes, I'm ready to play, like, let's do this, then check it out. And all of that is, you can see more details and everything else at my website, which is De'NiceaHilton.com.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'll have those links in their replay edit. And then as well in the description, if you're listening on the podcast, or on the YouTube channel, also in the description.
Awesome.
Yeah. I feel like that's all my questions, but if you have a question that you want me to ask, you can tell me.
Not really. Like, I don't have, it's so funny because I'm looking at you and I'm like, I feel like there's something that's there that you have a question about, but I'm not sure what it is.
I can check in. How long have you been doing this for? How long have you been practicing TCM?
It's been private practice for 5 years now. And so about 7, if you include all of the patients' times and the clinic and everything else in grad school. Yes.
Okay. And where are you based out of?
In the Tampa Bay area. So my physical office is in Palm Harbor.
Cool. Okay. I guess the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about, but I don't want to step on anybody's feet. But what I was saying before, like, I'm such a I call it like the truthinator. Like, I just get these like things that come to the forefront, and it's really hard for me to like hold it back, because often they can be things that can be a little bit triggery, but not, I don't mean to, like, it's not a bad thing. But I just thought it was I'm going to say it. I thought it was ironic that you're my first guest and we're dealing with all of the Black Lives Matter, and just wanted to hear more about that in, being I'm white and you're Black, or, I don't know exactly your ethnicity or anything, like to be like, oh, we shouldn't talk about this, and like, that's not okay, and like this sort of thing. But, I think maybe this could be a little bit of a great insert if you have some wisdom or how it's impacted you, or anything you want to share about that.
Sure. So thank you so much for asking. Maybe that was what I was picking up on, by the way. So my observations and the way I've seen things kind of unfold, right? And I've seen everybody seeing this, a lot of people seeing this, and really seeing this is where it is that you would tap into. And I think I may even rub some people in a different way, or a way that they might be uncomfortable with. But I still stand by myself, which is playing and really seeing how what you are observing and what your perspective and your perception is, and how that is really tapping into the potential and learning about yourself. It's really seeing, like, how open, like, can you be open to really sitting there and then just observing, and then understanding that what you're seeing and what you may have experienced is actually within your journey, right? And then how is it that we might be projecting that onto others, and where it is that we are also assuming. So there's a lot of a lot where it's like, well, yeah, if it's been in your life, you might see it more and it stands out more, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's in someone else's, because they are walking their own journey. And so how is it now that we can come in and have these conversations in a way that is open, and in a way that is also as non-judgmental as possible? Because ultimately, what I actually really see is that it's people that want to be seen for their spirit, and want to be seen for their soul, and that want to be seen for the gifts and talents that and skills that they have, despite the packaging that it comes in. And so ultimately, like, what I'm seeing now is people seeing, well, how is it that I can shift the way that I connect to others? And it's asking you to do a lot of self-reflection, and a lot of people might be really uncomfortable with it. And at the same time, it's also understanding where you're at, offering grace as much as possible to others being where they are, because you don't know anybody else's walk. So that's the other thing, is like a lot of people are sharing all of their stories and their experiences and whatnot. And I appreciate that. And it's understanding too that, like, you live that X number of years. Someone else just met you 30 seconds ago via a post. So patience and grace in navigating it, and allowing the conversations to happen, being open as people are actually coming to their openness about this, and really coming from a place where it's, I'm seeing spirit to spirit, I'm seeing soul to soul. And now what is it now? Because you have a choice. At every step, you have a choice. And then also, people are wanting to give. They're offering up now, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I mean, it's people offering up money. It's people offering up, like, connections to other people. It's people offering up positions at companies. It's people offering up services to begin your own company. Like, it's amazing now what is actually opening. Right. And so then now you're seeing people even asking themselves, in what way is it that I can be open? And then what ways is it that I can receive? Right. And it's that discernment. And actually, like, there's an Unslumber party that is happening this weekend, where the organizer and I talked, and it was like, a lot of people, some are feeling guilty, some are feeling really ashamed and whatnot, and then acting reactively because they just want to do something. And so what it was that I came up with was, let's do this Unslumber party based on, like, you. Like, what is your giving in service style? So then that way, when you come up with an idea and you want to do something, it's coming from a soulful and purposeful place, right? And then that's more sustaining, because if you do something out of guilt, this goes for anything, it is very short term. And then you grow into resentment. And so while we have this opportunity for a lot of changes to be that are happening, like, and you are adding in your footprint, because we are all connected in this collective consciousness, ask yourself, in what way is it that is really soulful and purposeful? Because then that way you can really own it and sink into it, where it will be sustaining. It will shift. We are honoring what has happened in the past, and that is fine. And I now lay that to rest, and bring yourself to the present and see the opportunities that are in the present, so that the decisions that you make will have this tremendous ripple effect into the future.
Yeah. Woo! Gosh.
I was prepared for that, apparently.
I love that. So good. Yeah, you're just rolling. Oh, I love what you created. I love like learning more about what you're up to. Yeah, if there's anything else I can do to support you. So for anybody who's listening who wants to partake and work with De'Nicea, you can find her at De'NiceaHilton.com. So that's DeNiceaHilton.com. But it'll be in the description, but just spell it out for you. And I look forward to learning more about what you're up to. And I just love like how much our stuff really works well together. And that there's like, this is happening on the planet, of course it's happening on the planet, but I just love connecting. I love this. I love, I love doing this. So thank you so much for being on the show and making the time to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate your platform and everything. So like, however it is that I can support and sharing and all of that, I totally will. And it's just awesome to see you come into this space to, like you said, be willing to go out on video and everything. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, have a really great day. And we'll see anybody who's listening. We'll see you next week where we'll have Crystal Von Hanna come on, who's going to bring us through a hypnotherapy healing session. And just, so that you guys know, I do have the download Unlock Your Menstrual Code, which is also really working a lot with what Denise is talking about, but on this kind of what she's talking about, the smaller scale where she's taking it really big, but just as a getting started of like picking a symptom and how to communicate with that symptom to find the gold within. So I'll put that in this description as well. And have a really great day and have a really great week, every person, every lady. Bye. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
It's a new day, get up a new